In the year 1993, the 73rd Amendment Act created a massive rise in the number of women sarpanch in Panchayati Raj institutions in India with a 30% reservation for women. A lot has changed since then. In the year 2015, a need was felt to study the impact of women in governance. ICECD, in partnership with UNICEF and Department of Panchayati Raj, Government of Gujarat, conceptualized an action research project called Action Research on Leadership Development Initiative of Women PRI Heads to transform governance of children, with the objective to demonstrate that leadership capacity of women PRIs impacts local governance and improves indicators related to women and children. The project was implemented in 2 phases consisting of an action research and capacity gap assessment followed by capacity building to bring about an irreversible change in the leadership of women sarpanch. An action research was carried out for 100 PRI sarpanch in Ahmedabad and Sabarkantha districts of Gujarat. Women sarpanch profiles were mapped including their socio-economic background, education, leadership ability, motivations, vision, knowledge and skills about their own role as a public representative and their knowledge of child governance and rights. The findings revealed that 90% of elected sarpanchs of Gram Panchayats could perform only at a minimum capacity of their position. There were glaring gaps in the desired performance levels of these women, and they also suffered from the dichotomy of power in the panchayats and relative powerlessness in their homes. Fund mobilization and management skills were found to be almost absent. Their knowledge about social security for children and efforts towards children development at large was minimalistic. Their knowledge, awareness, as well as participation in the regulatory framework, such as committee meetings, was found less. It was thus reaffirmed that low levels of skill and knowledge about the financial and regulatory framework which govern their roles of sarpanch lead to ineffective governance as well as ineffective interventions for women and children development at large. Considering the gaps, a need-based curriculum and training modules were designed by ICECD to build their leadership, executive and managerial skills. The modules contained a basic style of writing easily understood by sarpanch. A workbook was further designed with concepts and practicals of office administration, monitoring as well as good governance. A resource book or Mahiti Pustika was developed which included topics like planning, budgeting, various government schemes, information regarding women and children with a focus on their education, health and social development. Based on the capacity gaps identified in consultation with UNICEF, Sabarkantha was selected as a pilot district for capacity development program. 2 teams from ICECD personally visited 80 villages in Sabarkantha and motivated them to attend the training program. 78 women sarpanches registered themselves and finally 50 women sarpanches were selected who participated in the training. In the post-training follow-up, it was observed that the training was effective in achieving its long-term objective of increased participation of women in the local decision-making process. The feedback received and the action plans made by women sarpanch confirmed that they have understood their rights and obligations to contribute in the improvement of local democracy. In addition, they began to intervene openly and more frequently in the development of children and women in their villages.
કોઈ ખબર નથી કઈ આયા પછી બધું જાણવા મળ્યું અહીં આવીને જરા આમ છૂટમાં બોલી શક્યા 150 માણસની અમારી પેલી હોય પણ તો અમારે એટલી બધી લાજ કાઢવાની હોય એટલે મોટા માણસો હોય કે અમે બોલી શકીએ નહીં પણ એવું થતું કે સાહેબ અમે કંઈક શીખ્યા હોય તો સારું હતું અમને તાલીમમાં આવ્યા પછી એવું લાગે કે સારું શીખ્યા જેવું છે અને આગળ કામ કરવા જેવું છે સરપંચ ફરીથી બનવું ને કંઈક કામ કરવું વિકાસ તક મળી હોય તો અમે કંઈક કરત મારા ગામમાં કુપોષિત બાળકોના હોય પ્રેગ્નેન્ટ હોય બેનો એમના માટે આરોગ્ય ખાતાવાળી બેનો બોલાવી અને એની સારવાર આપવાની
તાલીમ આલ્યા પછી મને મગજમાં મને એમ થયું કે આ 2 વાર પહેલી આલી હોત તો અમે કહો કે મારી બુદ્ધિથી બીજું અગાડી વધારે કામ કરું બધાને જાગૃત કરું હતી
પંચાયતના વિકાસના કામ માટે અમને ઘણું બધું શીખવા મળ્યું બહુ સારું હતું સાહેબ અમને એવું લાગ્યું તો અમને એવું થયું કે અમને આ ટ્રેનિંગ થોડીક પહેલાં મળી હોત ને તો અમે હજી થોડો ટાઈમ હતો ને એનામાં અમે અનુભવ કરી શકું બધું ચૂંટાઈને આવીને તરત અમને આવી તાલીમ મળે કે તો અમે એ પ્રમાણે અમે વિકાસ કરીએ ગામનો બાળકો માટે સાહેબ અમે પહેલાં તો શિક્ષણ સમિતિ બનાવીશું શિક્ષણ મતલબ બાળકોને મળે એના માટે કરીશું આગળ ગમે તે થતું હશે
આ તાલીમ અમને પહેલાં મળી હોત તો કદાચ આજે અમારા ગામની તાસીર કંઈ જુદી હોત. તાલીમમાં મને બધું જ શીખવા મળ્યું અને મારા ગામનો કંઈક વિકાસ થાય અને હું કંઈક કરી શકું એવી મને તાલીમમાં જ શીખવા મળ્યું.
તાલીમ બહુ સારી લાગી અને અમારા જે ગુરુજી છે અને આ અમારા ભગવાન તરીકે ગણીએ તો એ ઓછું છે અને અમારાથી એવું લાગે છે કે અમે પણ એમને કોઈ રીતના બદલો આપી શકીએ. અમે બાળકો વિશે અને મહિલાઓ વિશેના પ્રશ્નો શીખ્યા. મહિલાઓને અમે જાગૃત કરશું કે બાળ મજૂરી અટકાવવાનું, બાળ લગ્ન ન કરવા જોઈએ, બાળકોનું કુપોષિત બાળકો ના રહેવા જોઈએ.
Some of the highlights of the training program were as follows. 64% women felt more confident about themselves as a local decision maker as compared to 20% before the training. Women shared understanding about funding and allocation, plus mobilization of books, uniforms, widow pensions, scholarships, old age pensions, etc. Women's issues were taken up by more than 56% villages, and awareness meetings for women's economic development were organized. A special women entrepreneurship development program was organized in Jethipur village. Over 60% sarpanches started attending and organizing Gram Sabha regularly and have included women and child issues in the agenda. Special committee for women and child welfare were also made in various villages. 62% sarpanch have made a checklist of BPL families. 44% began evaluating work done by panchayat members. 66% learned about new government programs. 70% got involved in collection of panchayat taxes, 70% discussed women issues in Gram Sabha, and 70% discussed children's issues in the Gram Sabha. Women Sarpanch began awareness creation for gender in various villages on various topics like workshop on equality between men and women and equal rights to education, established gender committee for women protection, reduction in female feticide, awareness on right of women to speak in panchayat, and income generation available for women in the village. Over 20% women drafted the current year village development plans this year as compared to before. There are obvious action changes seen specifically for children in a number of villages in the field of education, immunization, child labor eradication, 0% female feticide, drinking water, birth and death registrations, reduction of malnutrition, eradication of child marriages, and provision of sanitation facilities. 42% women sarpanch shared experiences of increased monitoring of school hygiene, attendance, Anganwadi functioning, as well as midday meals. Special interventions were made regarding children's rights and government schemes. Various sarpanchs have also conducted Bar Sabha for the first time, discussing the following issues: right to survival, right to education, right to health, right to nutrition, right to identity, awareness of child protection and establishment of child welfare committees, discussion of the right to education and spreading awareness on the same, taking action towards eradication of malnutrition, creating awareness on child marriage and its removal, as well as on child labor and its removal. It can thus be said with conviction that the capacity building initiative was timely, the training material quite effective and interesting, compelling participants to get involved into the in-depth process of development and decision making. The women sarpanch were observed applying the learnings into their daily work towards better governance. The UNICEF vision and ICECD's implementation has created an impact which is hugely gratifying, with the need felt to replicate this project for the newly elected women leaders from the beginning of their term for maximum effectiveness. This would open up new ways for much more effective governance with a special focus on women and children. And as the ICECD motto goes, we don't find ways, we make them.
वैष्णवजन तो तेरे कहिए जे पीड़ परा